I said I was going to misbehave today. I'm going to try to behave a little bit, but I probably won't because the day is going to be a very special day. And sometimes, we have to step on toes. Would you agree? Sometimes we have to say, ouch. Working with Brian Carruthers, he stepped on my toes plenty of times. There's been plenty of times where, I questioned him and I said, I hear what you're saying, Brian, but, that's the way that, I would have to do it. I mean, it's different for you. You grew up different than I did. So, I'm not thinking that's the way I should do it. And he says, you know what? Your check reflects the way you think as well. I said, hold up, man. For real, you don't know me like that, dog. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But I needed to hear it. He was right. He was right. The way I was thinking led me to the lifestyle that I had at that time. So I had to shift and change my thinking. And so what we're going to talk about here briefly at this time is something that's a little bit different than what most folks come to hear. They come to hear a lot of times the how-to. How do I sell the membership? How do I recruit? And you're going to learn some of that today on recruiting and things like that. But we also need to talk about the intangibles. And at this time, I want to talk about team etiquette. It is one of the most important things when building a successful culture. And sometimes we don't realize that it hinders our business. And it can propel your business to the next level as well if done properly. So we're going to talk a little bit about team etiquette today. And, on the DVD and even during my presentation, I tell a story because it's a story that's received well. But I don't tell the entire story because it's a little difficult to tell the entire story because it won't be received as well. And what I mean by that is when I play football, I tell the story of playing second string, sometimes third string. Some of you know the story. And so my uniform was always clean. There was not a grass stain. There was not a scratch on the helmet. And that was very true, and that's true. And so I have 4 football trophies, yet and still, even though I was second string and third string. And I always ask the question, how did I get those 4 football trophies as if I played football? However, I was just on the team. I was always prepared, though. Helmet was always there at practice. Chin strap was always on, prepared at any time, but just never really got the opportunity. And so that's the story that I share. However, there's a story that the story continues. That was my second year of playing football. My third year of playing football, I actually was first string, and I was first string running back. Now, I never mention that story because, one, it's not really received that well at my level because, if I say, listen, I was a running back and I made a lot of touchdowns, folks say, man, you're already platinum and got the ring. You had to be a running back, too. I mean, come on, you got enough. Seriously, some folks are jealous. They're like, oh, you scored touchdowns, too, didn't you? Bet you dated the cheerleader, too, didn't you? People... So you have to relate and say, I was second string, they didn't play me. But, the third year I played. But here's the deal. The third year where I played, I actually didn't get a trophy. I didn't get a trophy. The team didn't go to the championship. Now, I don't know if that says a lot for me and my running back skills. But my point is this. Is that there was a personal agenda there. When there was a team agenda there, I received the trophy. See, when there's a team agenda, the coach says if there's a fumble, fall on the ball. For those who play football, you know what I'm talking about. They say fall. It's a fundamental, fall on the football. But if you have a personal agenda, you try to pick up the ball and run for the touchdown because it feels better. However, you could obviously hurt the team if you go to pick it up and someone else comes to hit you and they get the ball. So the best thing to do is to fall on the ball if you have a team agenda. So we're going to talk about the difference at this time between a personal agenda and a team agenda. Because if you are here truly to serve other people and to empower and lift other people instead of exploit other people, in other words, making money off of people instead of making money with people, as Brian Carruthers said, then we can make a lot of income together. Is that okay with everybody? You all ready to do this together? Now, not everybody's going to be there with you. You know this. I know this. Folks are cut from the team. Some folks don't even show up at practice. Some folks won't show up in Oklahoma. So it's not our fault if they're cut from the team. You can't want it for people more than they want it for themselves. Am I right about this? In the book, As a Man Thinketh, it says a stronger man can never help a weaker man to become stronger until the weaker man himself decides to become stronger. So we can't help you unless you decide to be helped. Is that okay with everybody? Okay, good. So what we're going to do at this time, I'm not going to do this alone. I'm going to do it with the team so you can really see the importance of team etiquette. So please help me welcome to the stage my team partners, my business partners, Mr. Michael Humes and Mr. John Malot, Millionaire Club members. All righty here. Now, with these two gentlemen, I'm not really sure we're going to behave at all.
We're going to work
but
on it.
We're going to work on it. So, all right, the first thing we're going to do is, and this is so funny because in team etiquette, unfortunately, and I know that a lot of us say, well, I'm coachable, you know, I don't need to really hear this training, and sometimes that's the folks who really need to hear the training. The folks is nudging another person and say, I'm glad you're here because you really need to hear this one. No, you need to really hear this one. Right? And so we're going to talk about it from the expert's point of view, from the prospect's point of view, from the associate's point of view, so that we can learn how to handle certain situations that we're going to face when we're out here. Okay? So first we're going to start with the three-way call. Now, the three-way call is an important thing. It's base number 2 for those who've gone to your core training class. Okay? So it's base number 2. So it's an important base. Okay? It's a base on the way home. So we want to make sure that you learn how to do an effective three-way call. Now, we're not going to go into the how-tos as much as we go into the how to do the how-tos. So at this time, we're going to talk a little bit about the three-way call. Mr. Humes is actually going to be the associate in prepaid legal. Mr. Malot is actually going to be the guest or the prospect who we're trying to get on the three-way call, and I'm going to be the expert that you're using. Now, your expert does not have to be a ring earner. Anybody can be an expert, and we'll share that with you here in a little bit. So, Mr. Humes, we'll start off with you and getting me on the phone.
All right. We're going to assume that I just met Mr. Malot at the mall. He's someone who I've known, and I'm just going to put him on the phone with Mr. Self. Ring, ring.
This is Darnell.
Hey, D.
Yes. Who is this?
D. Self. Hey, Mike. It's Mike Daddy, man. What's up?
Hey.
Hey. Hey, look, I need you to do one of those three-way things, man. I got my man John on the phone. Jay. This is D, the one I was telling you about.
He's on right now?
Yeah. He's already on.
What up, D? What up, D?
Yeah.
What up?
I told you I was going to get one. I told you.
He said you like to be called Big Don.
Yeah. My name is Darnell Self. You're John?
Just J. Lottie. J. Lottie.
J. Lottie? Okay.
Yeah. It's my man, so you can just tell him what we do.
Okay. All right, great. Well, listen, what would you like most about what you've seen so far?
I haven't seen anything.
Oh, you haven't? Okay. He hasn't? Okay. All right, well, great. Listen,
Well, let's go see.
I'm sorry?
Supposed to see something?
Yeah, I've heard something
Well, he
about
said
prepaid
you were
legal services. What did you like most about what you heard about prepaid legal?
Pre-legal? This is pre-legal?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, this is what I want you to do. Mr. Humes will get together with you, and that way you guys can sit down.
No. You told me get people on the phone, and you were going to tell them. Now you're saying we got to get together?
You said this was the man. You said this was the man. You can't tell me?
Can you please just invite him out?
I thought you were Big Don.
All right, this is obviously not the way to do a three-way call. All right, this is obviously not. And, we exaggerated it a little bit, but, I've done some three-way calls real close to that.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Real close to that. And it really has nothing to do with your expert, but everything to do with the amount of edification that's done on your expert. Right. Okay? And I know this has to be taught. Edification has to be taught between that first place and that first base and that second base. And it's extremely important because based on what you say about your expert will determine the amount of respect your prospect has for your expert. So it's extremely important that we edify their time, not just get them on the phone and already have the person on the phone. I don't know anything about J. Lottie. Okay? I want to know something about him. Where does he work? What are his interests? What does he like most? What does he like least? So I can use those things to help me do a more effective call as the expert. So don't put your expert in that position. Sometimes we say, well, my expert, he never gets anybody close to me. And nobody, they always, because it may be our fault. So let's stop pointing the finger and look at ourselves sometimes and say, perhaps I'm not edifying my expert's time. We're not qualifying the prospect. You see, not everybody deserves to be a part of such a wonderful opportunity. Until he's prepared, we can't get him on the phone with our expert. Does that make sense? We qualify him. We say, listen, on a scale of 1 through 10, what's your interest level? Because depending on what you say, I may have an opportunity to get you in touch with one of the top business partners that I'm working with. You see, I have the privilege to work with this person. It's an honor to have access to this person. Does this make sense to everybody? And so we want to make sure we use edification in doing a three-way call. So please don't have your prospect already on the phone. Call your expert. Let them know a little bit about, even if it's your business partner, you're a manager, the expert's a manager, just tell them a little bit about that person. That way they have an opportunity to assist them, okay? And do it the right way. Anything else you all want to say about the wrong way?
I think you covered it.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, this time around, same scenario. I met Mr. Malot at the mall. He's a good friend, someone who I've gone way back with. I've given him a tool because whenever we're out, we always have a tool in hand. So I gave him a tool already. I already know that he's viewed the tool, but he has a couple questions. And from that point, I want to move to the three-way call. Is everyone with us? All right, great. Three-way call.
And let me say this. If anyone has a question, it's the perfect opportunity for a three-way. It's the perfect place to say, you know, that's exactly why I want you to talk to this gentleman. Well, I had a few questions. You know what? I'm so glad you said that. I've got someone who can give you 100% of the information. You do want 100% of the information, don't you? What are they going to say? No, I was thinking about 50%. No, of course they want. You know what I mean? So, you know, you want 100%, because otherwise, if you don't say that, folks will say, well, why can't you tell me? Well, I just told you 100%. I just got started. Or I want you to hear from the people that are teaching me. I want you to see it like I saw it or hear it like I heard it. Does this make sense to everybody? So again, you want to make sure that we edify this person so that they don't say, well, you tell me.
Right.
Okay. Sorry.
And that edification has already been done. And a lot of times we'll edify on the line, and that may be uncomfortable for the expert. So you want to edify your expert with your prospect prior to getting them on the line. Is that okay?
Well, and as the prospect, then I already have, you know, when I get on the phone, I'm more likely to be respectful to the expert than I am the person that put me on the phone. But sometimes we let our egos get in the way, right. And, you know, we want to be the man.
Exactly. You already sound like the expert, don't you?
I'm sorry, I'm the prospect.
That's who we've been looking for, right? You ready to sign up? Oh, okay. All right, we're going to do the three-way call. And actually, I'm just calling Mr. Self. I haven't three-wayed in Mr. Malot as of yet.
Okay.
All right? And when you're doing a three-way call, you always want to address your expert by their last name, always. And you want to edify your guest, no matter what level they are. If he's a physician, I still may want to call him Mr. Malot, but I always want to make sure that the emphasis is on Mr. Self. But if we're friends, I'm going to call him John. Is that okay? All right. Ring, ring.
This is Darnell.
Hey, Mr. Self. Mike Humes. How you doing, sir?
Hey, sir. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. I'm great. Remember the gentleman I was sharing with you? A good friend of mine, Mr. John Malot, I was able to get him on the phone. Is this a good time for you?
Sure.
Okay, good stuff. He's on the other line. He already has viewed the information.
Great.
He has a couple of questions. I asked him on a scale of 1 to 10, where does he see himself? He said about a 7, but he has a couple of questions, and then he can see himself getting started.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, great. I'm going to click him on.
Okay.
Hello, John?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, man, we're so fortunate I was able to catch Mr. Self, the gentleman who you already know a great deal about. You've had a chance to view him on the DVD, and I'm going to pass the call over to him. Mr. Self, this is my friend John.
Hi, Mr. Self.
Hey, sir, how are you?
Great.
Good. Listen, pleasure to meet you over the phone. Mr. Humes said some great things about you. You must be paying him very well. Listen, what would you like most about what you've seen so far with the information?
You know, the money. Right now, I could really use some extra money.
Okay. Well, I know exactly how you feel. I felt the exact same thing. And what I found, my wife and I joined Prepaid Legal, you know, having children and not really having the time we wanted to spend with them, not having the money, obviously, to do the things we wanted to do with them. We found we took a look at Prepaid Legal, were able to earn some part-time income, which turned into full-time income. She walked away from her job at BET, the cable station, and I walked away from my job at the mall. And now we do this full-time. So, again, we look forward to getting you some information so that you can make an intelligent decision for you and your family as well.
I just have a couple of questions.
Sure. Well, I tell you what, on this Tuesday, we actually have a presentation, a full presentation. It'll give you all the information on our company, our product, our compensation, how we get paid, the timing of our New York Stock Exchange company. And that way, I believe it'll eliminate any questions that you may have, and you can make an intelligent decision to get started with our company. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Okay,
great.
great.
I'll be there.
Okay, good. Well, listen, it's next Tuesday at 7 o'clock, and Mr. Humes, I'm not sure if you and John can connect and maybe even ride together.
Absolutely, Mr. Self. I'll be able to pick you up, John. I'll give you a call a little later on, and we'll definitely connect. I'll pick him up and bring him to the presentation. But, Mr. Self, before you go, sir, I really appreciate your time. I know you're extremely busy, and I appreciate you helping me build my business and speak to my friend John.
Not a problem. Anytime. Take care now.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Well, here's the deal. Now, listen, the three-way call can be driven anywhere. I mean, I could have tried to close him right then. You know, if I could answer these questions and decide if Mr. Humes said, listen, I really think he's ready to go. And I can say, you know, I could do the 4-part close, which we'll teach later today. You know, I could go right into the close and ask him, is there any other questions that I would need to answer in order for you to feel comfortable enough to go ahead and get started with our organization, our team, our company? And you may say, no, everything sounds good. Well, I'll tell you what, you can go get to Mr. Humes' website. Mr. Humes, can you help Mr. Malot get through the website? Listen, I look forward to working with you. What we'd like to do is make sure you get a check in your pocket as soon as possible. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Okay, great. So as soon as you get to the website, if you guys can call me back, we'll walk John right through a first step and get you a check right away. You see, and so I can go for the close, right? So it's so many different, and normally you tell your expert, hey, listen, if we can just get them out to the Tuesday brief and I've invited them, I just want to confirm them. Or, see, the expert's job is really easy. All we have to do is just direct. That's it, okay? And so I can direct him to the website. I can direct him to watch the DVD. If he's just heard a sizzle call and he has a couple other questions, wants to see a full presentation and he can't make it out to the briefing, I'll take the briefing to him and ask Mr. Humes to drop off the DVD or put it in the mail for him. So I can go a lot of different directions as the expert, and typically the associate and the expert will talk about that, and we didn't do that here, but we'll talk about that so we'll know which way to direct the prospect. Does everybody understand that? Okay, good. So again, use your expert so your expert can help validate some things. Sometimes you can talk to the same person over and over and over and over again, but you bring a third party in that says the same thing you've been saying, but they receive it different from a third party. That's right. Okay? And here's the reason why. Because the expert can use trust between the two. If you're talking about warm market, which I love doing three-way calls for warm market, because all I do is use the trust between the prospect and the associate. That's it. I did a three-way call for an associate in Atlanta, Georgia, Mr. Larry, never forget it. And Mr. Larry said, listen, I've been talking to this guy. He's a good friend of mine, and he's been in Amway for a long time. He's not really interested in getting started right now because he feels like he's been in Amway for so long, he needs to dedicate, if he's going to dedicate time to anything, he needs to dedicate it into Amway. And I said, well, sure, let's get him on the phone and see which way we can go. So he said he had some interest because they were friends. So I got them on the phone because they were friends. I could use trust. And so I talked to the gentleman, whose name is Mr. Johnson, okay? And I said, listen, I understand that you got a little bit of information on prepaid legal. He said, yeah, but let me be honest with you right up front. I was in Amway for years. I already make a strong income, a significant income, working at the car dealership. So I'm not really interested in pursuing anything else if it's not Amway right now. And I said, see, now that's okay. Some of us will fight that person and say, well, no, prepaid legal is better than Amway, and we offend that person. But instead, I congratulated him. I said, well, congratulations on being an entrepreneur, starting your own business. That felt good. Because now someone rewarded him, praised him for starting their own business, where typically people say Amway. So you're in Amway? So see, I made him feel good about it. And I said, listen, I just use the trust, that's all. And I said, well, listen, you and Mr. Larry are friends. Am I right about that? He's like, yeah, we go way back. We're good friends. And I said, well, listen, before you make your final decision, this is what I always say on my three-way calls. Because they may have thought they made a final decision, but I just told them he didn't. So before you make your final decision, because he thought by saying I'm in Amway, that was the final decision, but I just told him it wasn't, indirectly. So before you make your final decision, because you all are friends, would you at least go out to the presentation out there in Memphis for Mr. Larry? You do that for him, wouldn't you, as a friend? Now watch this. I didn't say, would you go look at prepaid legal? I said, would you do that for him? I've used his friend. Now, the only response there is, no, I wouldn't do that for my friend. You see that? I didn't ask him, was he interested in prepaid legal. I asked him, would you do that for your friend? Would you at least go out for your friend? Now he's got to say, no, I would never do that for my friend. So he said, of course I'd do that for my friend. And I said, listen, we're going to get you all the information on that particular presentation, and then we'll go from there. How's that sound? He said, that sounds good. He went out, Silver Executive Director today. Again, it's a power of making sure that you get third party on it. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear through an example. That doesn't really matter. The expert can drive you anywhere, but the associate and the expert have to have a conversation so that expert can use that trust if there is a trust relationship there. Anything else on that?
I'll just add real quick that I was a janitor for General Electric, and I didn't have the education. I didn't have all the things that I thought you were supposed to have to be successful. And when I discovered that all I had to do was get somebody else in the picture. I mean, that was, at one point I got involved in the business and I changed I thought I was supposed to be a salesperson, so I changed the way I talked. I'm calling up my friend saying, hi, Bob, this is John Malot. I'm now a legal liaison. I have a title now. My friends are like, look, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Don't put on the purple tennis shoes. And so I was freaking people out trying to be something that I wasn't. But when I discovered that all I really had to do was get somebody else in the mix, so now I could just simply talk highly about an expert and get my buddy on the phone who disrespects me anyways, and say, look, don't embarrass me when you talk to Mr. Self. You know what you did the last time, this time. And so then I put Mr. Self on the phone. I just sat back. The whole time, Mr. Humes didn't say anything after he turned it over to Mr. Self. And when I caught that, it was like the light went on. And the team started to explode. We could duplicate that, where I couldn't duplicate if I had to be the expert all the time. Because people were like, look, John the janitor, in the two-tone car, one-tone rust, one-tone dirt. Where are we going? We couldn't even barely get to the briefing in my car, much less, anyhow, you guys got it. So.
And the great thing about that, as not the expert, but as the associate, is while I'm not saying anything, this is the perfect time to learn how to properly do a three-way call. I can take notes on exactly what Mr. Self is saying and how he's handling different situations if we've set up to do calls. Because a lot of times you may set up with your expert, listen, I've been prospecting all week and I have about 15 people. I'm going to go down my list. And so you could set up a half hour. It doesn't take a whole, day in order to return some calls to do your follow-ups with your expert. We would knock out 10, 20 calls in a matter of a half hour because you're not going to get everyone on the line. But you want to make sure that you're taking notes so that way when that happens again, that situation comes around again and you're doing those things for your new associate. So when I'm the expert for John in this situation, he's no longer John, he's now Mr. Malot. And when I'm the expert for him, I already know how to handle some of those situations. And we don't put the burden back on the one person. You know, we're all trying to get that one executive director to do 1 million three-way calls, that one platinum. So you don't have to do that because it starts to duplicate because we're all teaching. We're being taught the same thing through activity knowledge.
Good stuff. And listen, the last name isn't important because someone wants to be called by their last name. It's not an ego thing. The only reason we do that is because it leveled the playing field for everyone. In other words, if I said, hey, listen, I know you have a physical ailment, and I want you to go talk to this buddy of mine. He's a doctor. His name is John. Hey, John, man, help him out with their problem. And then you say, well, who is this guy? What's his credibility? But if I said Dr. Malot, all of a sudden it added some credibility. If I said Bishop Malot, then it added some credibility to his spiritual life. So again, it all depends on what you're trying to do. We did it because we knew we had a lot of folks when we got started didn't have a GED. We had folks that had PhDs. We had folks that had no success. We had folks that had a lot of success, and we knew we could level it. When a 19-year-old got on the phone and we called him Mr. somebody, and all of a sudden they said, did he just call you? And it all of a sudden added credibility to this 19-year-old who otherwise had no credibility. So again, that's up to you, but it's just a preference that we have, and we found it to duplicate well. What we're going to do now, so now that we've done the three-way call, I can't see my time clock. Okay, now that we've done the three-way call, we're going to head to the briefing. Now, we're going to change the scenario up here. I'm the associate, and I have 2 guests on the way to the briefing. 2 guests on the way to the briefing. I picked them up. They showed up. They were there at the house when I knocked. And they came out. That's two important things right there. Sometimes they're not there, sometimes they're there, but they don't open the door. But one thing we found, when you pick them up, they show up. Am I right? No one ever jumps out the car on the way there, no matter how negative they are. They've never jumped out, ever have they jumped out. So this is all old network marketing stuff. We're just going to go over the old basics. That's all. All right, so here we are. We're on the way to the briefing, and I know typically you're all not sitting in the front, unless you're in the old school where you all school up together in a pickup truck, you know what I mean? But so just pretend like we're in the front seat. We'll put John in the back. Yes. I know if this is 1940s, that would never happen. It was, Rosa Parks lives, Anyway, so.
Yes, I can.
See, I can't even say anything. I'm going to let that one slide.
We be standing up in the car. He's the only one sitting down. We standing up.
I'm going to speak for my people a little later, so.
All right, behave. All right, so we're on the way. Wrong way to do it. This is the wrong way, guys, to do it on the way to the briefing. There is no pre-briefing on the way to the briefing. Never pre-brief your people. So we're on the way. So, guys, I can't wait for you all to see what's going on. This is going to be incredible.
What is going on?
It's prepaid legal. I told you it's prepaid legal, right?
Man, I thought we was going out, man.
I thought we were going to the pool hall.
I mean, if you want us to go to the pool hall, we can. I've actually got some materials here. We don't really need to go to the briefing.
If we do go, I'm not taking my hat off. I'm telling you, I don't care what you say. I'm not taking my hat off.
You don't need to take your hat off, man. You can wear shorts, tennis shoes, flip-flops. Don't matter.
Oh, cool. We straight.
Hey, can we swing by and get my kids?
I know the people at the door. I can get you in, huh?
Can we swing by and get my kids? Go pick up my kids.
Yeah, man. You can have kids. No problem. You got the kids. Put them on the front row.
Hey, is it...
Hey, listen. So this is what I want to do. I know I'm driving, so I can't really do. I need y'all to read it. They're going to show you this at the briefing, but I'm going to go ahead right now to pass these out. Forbes magazine. They're going to show it to you when the slide comes up, but I want you all to be prepared for it.
Oh, man,
Money magazine.
Thank you.
So they're going to talk about the guy who started in 1972.
What's his name?
His name is Pebble Stone Cipher. Stone Cipher. Pebble Cipher. No, his name is Stone Piper.
Okay. All right.
or something like that. I don't know. He had an accident.
Okay.
And
What kind of accident?
You want to see this one?
Let me see. Yeah, look at it.
yeah, but listen, guys. Yeah, so here, basically, man, we're going to talk about New York. It's going to be a New York Stock Exchange company. They're going to talk about it.
Hey, man,
and the
just
guy really has a funny joke. He's going to say, PPD, please pay Darnell. It's real funny. Wait till you hear it. Laugh. I mean, I heard it a lot of times. I still laugh, though.
Hey, for real, though, just cut to the chase, man. How much is it going to cost? Because I ain't got no money. How much I got to pay?
It's $249
Too
regular.
long. No.
But no, listen, right
Whoa,
now.
turn this car around.
No, listen to me, man. Hey, don't let me pull over, man.
Go get my kids.
Listen, right now it's $49. They got a CFT reset
40
going
for
on.
what?
You got a manager mayhem.
Mayhem?
14 associates to go. And then what you do is you get started, get 45 days to actually go and hurry up. You got a PBR, CFT. You got the you got all this good stuff, man. I'm telling you, you can't wait till you get to director. You got
Are there any white
expansion
people
bonuses. We've got champion bonuses. We got Punta Cana. We got so much stuff. I don't even know.
Punta who?
Yeah, you got the Punta Cana, man. You ain't heard of Punta? I'm telling you, man. This is the company right here. They're making like $88,000 a week. Wait till I introduce you to the person.
Is this a pyramid?
Hey, is there going to be any women in?
Of course, man.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah, some of them don't dress right, so you see. You know what I mean?
Let's go.
Hey,
They
forget my
showing
kids.
everything.
Forget my kids. Leave my kids at home.
Hey, this the briefing on the side of town. This the briefing I'm taking you to that they show everything.
You got, hey,
That's what I'm talking about.
you got to drive faster than
Yeah,
that.
All right, let's stop. Let's stop. 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 All right, this is not the way. This is not the way.
Definitely not the way.
There is, listen, and of course we exaggerate, but listen, no pre-briefing. You don't tell them what they're gonna hear. You don't tell them about, the New York Stock Exchange. Don't go into the briefing and say, that's exactly why I invited you all out. No matter what they say, that's exactly why I invited you out. I can't wait for you to get there. Dream build. You know what I mean? Share with folks. Say, listen, what do you like most about your job? What do you like least about your job? How long have you worked there? Get them to start sharing. And what will happen, they'll say, man, I can't stand what I do right now, to be honest with you. But you can't de-edify their job on the way there. We shouldn't do that. We shouldn't say, listen, I know you've been delivering pizza for the last 8 years. You can't be making any money doing that. You know what I mean? Don't de-edify them, because the ego would jump out and say, well, listen, man, that's not all I do. I'm about to start this T-shirt business, and their ego will come out. Am I right? Right. So don't de-edify. Say, listen, I know you're making a lot of money at Domino's, man. You're probably making a kill. See, let him say, who? Not me. And then I can say, oh, man, well, you're going to really be excited tonight about how the money is being made. You see, I don't know exactly what to prescribe when I hear his headache. But I have to talk to them to hear what's going on in their life first. Talk, ask questions. If you had all the money in the world, what would you do? And they say, I'd travel, or I'd spend time with my kids, or I'd give to ministry. See, now I know he's a well, he likes to give. That's how we categorize, okay? So now all of a sudden I know that we have a giver over here. I know of a money person over here. So I know who to introduce them to when I get there. You all see this? I can introduce them to a pastor if he loves to give. I can introduce them to one of my top income earners at the briefing if it's about money. So I know exactly what, I can't introduce a person who likes to give to the money person, because the money person is going to say, listen, I made a lot of money since I've been, and this person's turned off by the money person because I introduced him to the wrong person. That's right. Are we getting this? Okay, good. So small things, seemingly small things that can either, one, explode your business or hinder your business, a slight edge, as Mr. Olson talks about. So we're not even going to go into the wrong way. The point is just the right way. The point is just ask questions on the way there, get to know them a little bit more, ask them about their life, what's been going on. They may say, man, I've been downsized, worked for 3 different jobs, or hey, man, I don't know if we're going to see network marketing or not, but if we are, man, I've been, I love it. I'm just a little skeptical, and that's okay. Just let them talk. And say, well, listen, that's why I'm glad you're coming out. Whatever it is, that's why I'm glad you're coming out. I hope this is not a pyramid. That's why I'm glad you're coming out. Whatever it is, okay? Everybody with me? Yes. Now, of course, you can use Jesse McPherson's thing. It's just as easy. We've always done that. You ask a question, is this a pyramid? Is this a pyramid? Am I right? Right? So you can just ask the question, and that really works. It does. Try it on your spouse when you leave out of here. Even if you try it to the person who's sitting next to you, even though they were in this training, it's human nature to fall for that one. When you leave out of here, watch. They'll defend as long as you ask them the question again. When you leave, watch this. Ask someone who you're with, when you leave, hey, where are we going to eat? Or let them ask you a question, whatever it is, and you just repeat it back and say, where are we going to eat? I was only asking because I didn't know if you were hungry. And they'll start to justify. Watch what I say. When you leave, watch what I say. It'll put them in the hot seat. It will, no matter what you say. If they say, are you coming back tonight? Am I coming back tonight? I didn't know if you were not feeling well. I didn't know. Right? So it works. So my point is, get out of it. All right. Don't pre-beat. We good?
I
Okay, good. So now we're at the briefing. Now we're at the briefing. Now, I know who to introduce my guests to because I've been talking to them. And before the briefing, I already want to introduce them to some folks. Not just after the briefing. I want them feeling good and releasing some of the skepticism that they have before they walk into the briefing. Okay, so if they're a dentist and there's a dentist there, I want to introduce them to the dentist. If they're in real estate, I want to introduce them to someone who's in real estate. If they like to give, I want to introduce them to someone who's a giver. So introduce folks. Now, you can only introduce folks if you've been networking at your briefing. Briefings are about fellowship as well. So if you've been the lone soldier over in the corner of your briefing, now it's time to network a little bit so you can introduce your guests when they can come out. Does that make sense? You need the briefing needs you. So make sure that you network when you're at your briefing. So now we head to the briefing. We show up. We go to sign up. I'm an associate, so I sign up as an associate. Okay. I'm an associate. That means I'm already started, so I participate in my business. I release my financial seed so I can receive a financial harvest. If you hold on to that seed, trying to cheat the briefing from a financial seed, you cannot reap a harvest from a seed you never sown. It will not come back your way. So do not cheat the briefing thinking that the people at the briefing just need your money. The people at the briefing are helping you to participate in business philosophies. They're teaching you by investing in yourself. So the briefing costs because it's your business. Otherwise, go rent an office and bring people to your own office. See how much that seed is. I said I was going to, I'm misbehaving like I said I was. But don't cheat the briefing. Is that okay to say? Now, if your briefing is $85, then then that's a difference. All right, so show up, introduce folks. The people at the desk should be nice people, groomed people. Nice and groomed and nice.
With teeth, preferably.
Okay.
Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about.
We always got team members like, listen, you can smile without showing your teeth if you like. I mean, that's fine. I do it all the time. But listen, here's the deal. You have to be nice, though, at least. And the less teeth you have, the nicer you have to be. It's just kind of you know what I mean? You got to make up in numbers when you're lacking skill. You know what I mean? You got to work. All right, so no, I'm sorry. Here's the deal. You got to be nice. You got to be nice. I've seen you often tell me stories, but I've seen briefings where I show up and a person's mean at the table. Mean. Guest or associate. And the person, they're scared. It's like, I was invited up for the person. Are you in? Have you signed? Have you paid your money? Seriously, and we're not even joking about this. This is real. Yes. Folks bring a child or they come in with a hat. It's a nice way to tell them that, hey, listen, it's a professional environment. I apologize. No one told you that. We actually, with this attire, we actually asked that. And maybe you have a briefing where they sit in the back, but they still have to take their hat off, but sit in the back so they're not distracting all the professionals in the front. And but whatever your etiquette is at your particular briefing, but at the same time, it should be handled in a professional way. So if people show up with a child, you don't say, you can't bring that baby in here. That's your baby. Ain't nobody tell you have a baby like that. You should have started the business before you had a baby. You can't do that to folks. All right? And honestly, I'm not even going to tell the place that I was, but the lady showed up at the briefing with a baby, and the person saying, to the person at the desk, I know she ain't got no baby right here. Like the person wasn't standing right there. This is what happened. I was standing there as the expert behind it because they were getting my mic on. And they said, I know she ain't bringing that baby in here. Like she was whispering.
Even the baby heard her.
So then she said, you can't bring that baby in here. I'm sorry. But it's a way you say, listen, I apologize. You apologize. Apologize for the associate. I apologize that you weren't informed. This is a professional environment, and we don't allow, it's kind of almost like a corporate interview. So we don't allow babies within this setting because they're so cute they can be distracting. And so what we ask is that you wait outside, and perhaps we can have someone do a sit-down presentation with you afterwards, or if you can find someone before, perhaps we can do that. Or we actually have a DVD that does the exact same presentation that you would see tonight, and that way you can make it out next week without your child. But again, thank you for coming. I would really appreciate you taking a look at our company. You see, that's how you handle that situation. And it's best if you can ask someone to go to the side and even handle that. Not handle it in front of a whole line so she feels bad about having a baby. Does that make sense? Okay, the same thing when they're dressed appropriate. You don't handle that in front of other people. It's like, You got on shorts. Dude, third person back. You get short alert, flip-flop alert, security.
Yeah, you know, and you've got to be careful. I mean, sometimes I think we forget where we came from. You know, Mr. Humes was coming to the briefing in a postal uniform.
That's right.
I was coming, you know, straight from work, and so I was in jeans and t-shirt. I didn't know any better, and had people. I've been places where I was a speaker, and I've heard how we talked to people that were guests that were coming in. And I'm thinking, man, if I was a guest, I'd be like, forget this thing. I want nothing to do with it. So we've got to be careful. You know, someone once said, if you forget where you came from, you're on your way back. I never want to go back. So we can't feel just because we're suited and looking nice now, they may be next. We might have to develop those people, but it starts there. So put them in the back if you have to. Treat them nice. Let them get the information, or have, you know, someone circling up with them.
Good stuff. Thank you. Anything else on that?
But at the same time, and that's absolutely correct, but at the same time, we all know it's our job. It should never get to the point where we put the hosts, those who are sitting behind the table, in a situation where they have to address that. So it's up to us to make sure that we tell folks it's a professional environment, who we invite out. I don't care who it is. You know, if they're coming from work, you know, let that person know up front, listen, I just don't want you to feel uncomfortable, but it's a professional environment. That's good.
Very good.
So you can address that as well. And if we do that, we'll see our presentations around the country explode.
That's good.
Absolutely. Which brings us to our last segment here. Well, actually not our last, but close to it. We're in the briefing, okay? And the briefing hasn't started, so if you're going to get water, if you're going to use the bathroom, we all know as associates that should happen prior to the briefing starting. Okay. And so we're sitting there in the briefing. As associates, we don't get up during the briefing. There's a lot of things we should not do during the briefing. So let's go over a couple of things, and we'll show you by example. I'm the associate, my two guests. The briefer's briefing, and by the way, for those who are hosting briefings, the music should be at a level where I can still talk and not have to yell. So at a level where I can still talk, but not yell. Okay, if I have to yell, it's too loud. The music should start off lower, because when you don't have a lot of people in the room, the music cannot be absorbed by the people. But as people come in, you can actually increase the volume, and it will sound like it's at the same level, because the people are, the music is absorbed by the bodies in the room. So you can increase it slightly, but not blasting it. Does that make sense? We shouldn't, and some of these things, seems like it should be evident, but, you know, maybe it's not. You know, no profanity in the music. It's even best if it's not even lyrics, okay? But, you know, the bottom line is you have some professional music, not, you know, catered towards one specific demographic, so that everyone feels welcome. Everybody with me so far?
What if the profanity is beeped?
No. All right. J. Lottie. Okay, so, and you should have one host, and you can have a briefer or two briefers. You can split the briefing. It shouldn't be three briefers, and it shouldn't be a host who hosts the host. You should never have an introducer to introduce the introducer for the introduction. No, some people do that. You know what I mean? Because they had an RVP there, we're going to have the RVP introduce the host, who's going to introduce the person who's going to do the front half, who has to introduce the person who does the back half. And before you know it, you got 20 minutes in just introductions. So you should have one host to welcome everybody, tell them to turn their cell phones off, tell them to stay seated, and introduce the speaker. That's it. Got it? All right, you can recognize everybody else later on. All right? No giveaways in the beginning of the briefing. No giveaways in the beginning of the briefing. Okay? Don't start giving away things. Because then folks feel like they were just, you know, they were bought out because someone can get a gift. So how many guests did you bring out? 10. I'm going to give a gift to you. And it's like, you bought me out so you can get a book? Now, after the presentation is fine, because they already like what they saw. Right. But not before. Okay. We're in the briefing. My two guests. I'm an associate. The briefer's briefing. Here's what not to do.
Jeez. How long this thing gonna go, man?
I don't know, man. I've seen it like 80 times myself.
Stomach growling up in here, man. I'm hungry.
No, I'm gonna take y'all to get something to eat, man. I told you I promise you I'm gonna get something to eat, man. Stop complaining, dude. Hey, man, you gonna eat?
You want something? Yeah,
hey, split that in 3. Hey, where you going, man? All right. Hey, look. Hey.
What's up, man?
Hey, man, I ain't inviting y'all nowhere. Stop, man. Watch.
Man, I'm hungry.
All right. Hey, y'all stay seated. I'll be right back. Hey, get on my way, dude.
I'm gonna go. Let's go.
Hey, hold up. Sit down, man. I'm back.
Here, man.
All right, this is not the way. I've watched associates get up during the middle of the briefing. Now, I know out of the 15,000 whoever's here, how many people here, some of us, we were never taught this training, so we just didn't know any better. So I'm not beating up on you because you knew better. I'm teaching so that we know better, and when we know better, we can do better. Is that okay? So that's all. So forgive us if we hurt your feelings because you've been getting up, but there's a lot of directors I've watched get up in a briefing and walk out during a briefing. And what that says to the guest or the new person, the prospect, is, hey, I can get up too. Because you know when one person gets up, it gives somebody else permission to get up. Okay, so please do not get up during the briefing, okay? If your guest, your guest will do what you do. So if I'm leaning back, your guest will lean back. If I'm looking at my watch, don't look at your watch as an associate. They'll look at their watch. If I'm looking at them, they'll look at me instead of looking at the presenter. Because sometimes we're so busy, like wondering if they're interested, we're looking at them the whole time. Associates do that the whole time. They're like, are they interested? I wonder if he likes what he sees. Look forward so they can look forward. And they can see that you're enthusiastic. Everybody with me? So here's the right. Oh, anything else?
And associates don't ask questions. It's amazing. Sometimes we'll have an associate, senior associate, will say he's got a guest, and he'll say, "Well, I got a question." In the brief, this is an associate.
Right.
And the other thing is, you've got to look. If you got a yawn, you know how to yawn and kind of hide it, put it behind your note. Because somebody like.
Yes, don't do that.
All right.
Okay?
And if you're sleepy,
go ahead.
and if you're sleepy, don't go to sleep. There's nothing worse than having someone right there on the front row about to fall out of their seat on your feet.
Yeah, as an associate. It's so ridiculous, but it's true, guys. It's so true. All right?
Happens every briefing.
You got to nudge them.
If you know you're tired, stay outside.
Right.
Stay in the back.
Drink some Red Bull.
Okay, and most questions, watch this one, most questions that the speaker asks are rhetorical. That means you don't have to respond. You never speak back to the speaker. Okay, you can participate. There's a difference between participating and having a dialogue. For an example, the speaker says at the director level, you can make an override of $34. I know that's right. No! No! That was not called for you to speak. See, how many of y'all receive a speeding ticket? That's participation. You don't say, oh yeah, 8 of them last week. No, that's dialogue. Everybody with me? You don't do that. People are amening, standing up. Yeah! That's unprofessional. I know you don't mean to do it. You're probably excited. That's what they do at your church. But this ain't church. This is a business. You know what I mean? You feel the spirit. Don't go, hallelujah. This ain't. I feel it too, but not here. God is everywhere. Because some of we get it. We get excited.
Hallelujah.
It's called relaxed intensity.
You know you're over participatory if it's more than 2 words. If it starts out, I know, and you can't get that's right out, then you know it's too much.
Yeah. So
Stop
only
right
wave your hand. We're going to show you right now.
And if you know the joke, don't say the punchline before the speaker. Come on.
Yeah, it looks like we just orchestrated everything. You don't want to look like that, okay? That's bad. All right, and if they say, listen, how much would you charge if you were my attorney on a monthly basis? $26?
Yes.
No, not if you were a prepaid legal associate, if you were an attorney. If you were an attorney.
You can do it for a bottle of water a day, right? and the bottle is going to come up on the next slide. It's a bottle. No.
All right, we got to go.
Yeah, let's go. I would just say one final thing that as we travel around, let me speak to my people for 1 second. My people. And if you're not sure who you are, that look like me. Sometimes we believe enthusiasm and energy is unprofessional. You know, you've been to some white churches. All I'm saying is that it wouldn't hurt to, smile a little bit, sit up in the chair slightly, uncross your arms, that type of thing. But wait a minute, for my other people, on my wife's side, look, it wouldn't hurt to bring it down slightly. If we could meet in the middle, we'll be fine. All right, just had to say that. I'm sorry.
Okay, basically we don't have to go through this, okay? So we've done it. You know the right way. It's basically whatever I do, they would do. If I raise my hand, let's just show them real quickly. So we're at the briefing. I'm leaning forward. Speaker speaking.
Hey, that's me too. Hey, let me ask you a question. They're going to watch this. Oh. Are they going to say how much it is?
I'll tell you after.
Oh, okay.
Definitely. That's how you do the brief. Everybody with me? That's the briefing. All right, guys, come on, real quickly. We got time. All right, so real quickly, we got to cover two things real quick. We got 2 minutes. Okay, who's the speaker? Mr. Malot, speaker.
Okay.
Stand here
Here?
for stage presence so that everyone can see right about there. Okay, good. And we're here. Okay, sorry, guys. All right, so this is after the briefing. Wrong way, okay, the wrong way, because I'm taking my prospect up to the guest, up to the speaker. The wrong way is to de-edify the speaker and go sign him up outside myself. The playing field is inside that room. The playing field is always inside that room. Once you're outside the room, then let me think about it, let me talk to my wife. It's inside the room is the playing field. Don't go outside the playing field. There are no players out there. There are no coaches out there. Everybody with me? Okay, good. So, hey man, so what you think?
I don't know, man. I think a lot of things, but,
All right, well, they told me to go, I'm supposed to go take you up to the speaker, so let's go. Hey, look at this line, though, man.
How long it's going to be, bro? I can't wait that late.
I know, man. We might have to do this in the car.
Yeah.
He was all right, but I don't know if he's worth this line.
I thought you told me his wife was better, right? Didn't you say?
I really wanted you to come out next week because his wife was speaking. I don't know how he got up there.
That's wrong.
Because I thought you could relate to her a little bit more. But all right, let's go ahead. Oh, he is right here. John, what's up, dude?
Hey, sir, how
How you doing, man? Good to see you, sir.
Thanks for coming out.
Yep. You remember me? What's my name? What's my name? You don't remember? I met you at a convention one time. We was walking by. It was like 18,000 people, but I was the one that had the prepaid legal pen on. I was a black one, 6 foot.
But they are never.
All right, go. All right, I'm sorry. All right, so this is my guest, Mike, and Mike, John.
What's up, man?
Hey, tell him about,
Yeah.
Hey, tell him about,
What's up?
hey, tell him about the janitor thing, man. Tell about you when you was working at the GE, you was sweeping floors, the green stuff, you know what I'm talking
Hey,
about?
you was all right, man. That was good. That was good. D was telling me you was good, man. Which
Hey.
way?
I'll tell you what. Why don't you two get together, take a little time.
Hey,
He's got this thing. He's got this. You're in
John.
good hands. I'm going to
John,
let...
I got one question, bro.
D.
I got one question. You got any applications? All right, so that's the wrong way, right? The wrong way. All right, so don't de-edify. If it's someone who you didn't think was speaking, still edify them. It's not the speaker, it's the edification on the speaker.
That's right.
Everybody with me? So don't de-edify the person and say, well, next week's going to be better. Folks say crazy stuff. All right, wait in the line. The line is edification. It tells you who that person is because the line is so long. Okay? So it's edification. Don't ever ask folks, do you remember me? It puts the speaker in an uncomfortable situation, makes you look bad in front of your guests like they don't even know who you are. So I'm going to show you how to do that when we walk up now. Ready? Never ask, what do you think, by the way, because he said, I don't know, I think a lot of things. So you ask him what he liked most. Everybody with me? Okay, great. Hey, man, awesome presentation, wasn't it? I'm so glad you made it out with me tonight.
Glad you invited me out, man. I'm excited. I'm ready.
Good. What did you like most about what you said?
The money, man. Hey, and this guy was awesome.
Yeah,
man.
he is. He's good.
Can I meet him?
Absolutely. I want you to get a chance to meet him. And I know it's a long line, but he's worth the wait. I know he said the story a little bit about being a janitor, but he's one of the Millionaire Club members of Prepaid Legal. He said the Prepaid Legal goal is to create more millionaires than any other company. He's one of them, man. So I can't wait for you to get a chance to at least shake his hand so you can tell people when you go home today that you shook the hand of a millionaire.
Man,
yeah, good stuff.
Hey,
yeah.
I saw you stand up too, man. Congratulations.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that,
You're
man.
doing good.
Hey, man.
Okay.
Just feel really blessed, man, that we had an opportunity like this. Hey, listen, here he is right here. So how you doing, sir?
Yourself.
Good.
Good
You don't know my name yet.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, all right, great. Mr. Law, how you doing, sir?
Very
good. My name is Darnell Self. We actually met a couple of times, but listen, I appreciate you doing the presentation today. Awesome presentation. And this is actually Mike.
Hey,
first
how are
time
you, sir?
out.
Hi,
Take
Mike.
a look.
Good
This
to
is
see
Mr.
you.
John Malot.
First time out.
Yes, sir. Yes.
You see an opportunity for yourself?
Absolutely. I'm ready.
Good.
I'm ready.
When do you see yourself getting started?
Like right now?
Right now?
Can I-
Perfect.
can we-
I'll tell you what, you couldn't be in better hands. Mr. Self has got the paperwork. He'll show you how simple it is to come on board tonight. We'll take care of that. We'll get you trained and started properly.
Good. I
So show
appreciate
him the paperwork. Show him how simple it is to get started.
I will, absolutely. Thank
All
you for
right.
your time.
Welcome to our team.
Nice meeting you. Thank
My
you.
Good
pleasure.
stuff. That's how you do it, okay? Allow your process. All right, great. So we're actually out of time, but I do want to share that in the private business reception, it's so important because the same thing takes place in a private business reception. It takes place in sit-downs. You never interrupt your speaker during a sit-down. You're an expert. Let your expert, if you can do all the talking, then why have an expert there?
That's right.
That's what it says to your guest or your prospect, okay? So you want to make sure that you allow your speaker to speak during the sit-downs unless they ask you a question. If they say, hey, listen, why don't you share the story about how you got started, then you can share. Other than that, let the speaker present. Let your expert present. Same thing at a private business reception. If you're using the DVD, as a host, it's always important to introduce your private business reception by sharing your why, your reason why you're doing the business. That's the best way to introduce, because even if folks don't get started in the business, they'll want to get started to support your why because you've shared it in the beginning. For an example, if I'm getting started because I want to help out my mom, I say, well, listen, you all know how I feel about my mother. And I really have been wanting to take care of her, some of her needs here lately, especially since she's getting a little older. And I found a business that I've just recently joined that's going to help me to do that. And I really wanted everyone who I love and care about to also see the same business project that I'm working on so that you all can see right in the beginning of my pursuits or whatever you want to say. But my point is I use my why. Or listen, you guys know I've been working 3 jobs and I just can't take it anymore. I'm missing all the kids' events and I finally found something that's going to help me to eliminate 2 of those jobs by December. And I wanted to invite the people that I cared about and knew that would be interested in moving along with me if it was an opportunity for them to see this presentation today. My point is use your why when you invite people over and when you introduce your private business reception, okay? And of course, you want to edify the DVD. You want to edify your expert if they're there or edify the expert calling in. Guys, we just got to set up more private business reception. That's the key, is just setting more up, scheduling more. Who cares if they don't show? We've all had no-shows at private business reception. It's a prerequisite for success so that we can develop the armor necessary to lead a large sales force. So be careful wanting what you don't want. Because if you had all success, you couldn't tell people how to go through the stepping stones of failure because you've never had any failure. So really you want failure so you can teach and coach other people how to do the same thing. Okay? Any closing comments?
Yeah, I think the bottom line is just keep it simple. I think that we have a tendency to complicate this stuff. It's pretty simple. You know what the objective is, so you know that going into it. And, you go in with an expectation. Have an expectation. Some people come and they didn't expect to have success. It's like Mr. Self asked me, do I have an application? I'm the speaker. I don't have one in my back pocket to give you. So you have to have an expectation, have the applications, look professional, know exactly where you're going, know that this prospect is coming on board today, and you deliver it with posture. And when you get that posture where you know what you've got and you know that this person or the prospect is going to be better off because of what they saw, what they saw. And just think, we just got to avoid being weirdos. You know what I mean? we just got to avoid the temptation to do things that are strange, out of the ordinary, weird. Take the buttons off. And anyhow, before I get out of hand, let me turn it over to you guys. Just keep it simple and be yourself when you're doing this.
Absolutely. I think in closing, last night Mr. Somerville went over the fact that it's 80% mindset and 20% skill set. And what we just went over was strictly skill set. But when you throw in your reason why, when you throw in the reason why you're building your business, when you put all of that into it, you're not going to worry so much about the skill set. You're going to make sure that you have guests. And we didn't even really talk about, for the sake of time, what happens when you have a negative person in there. Because you got to understand, the average person won't participate in their own rescue. So you're going to run into some negativity. It's just a part of it. But when you keep that why in front of you, you're going to run through those people to get to the people that are going to help you, as well as you help them take themselves to the next level. So we appreciate the opportunity to share this with you. We look forward to seeing your success as we take this company to the next level.
God bless you all.